My name is Joe Reichard. Welcome back to the Saab Doctor. Today we're going to be replacing the rear brakes on my 2010 9.5 Aero. Stay tuned. And I just realized I do a lot of montages jacking up cars, but yeah, that's how it works. Alright, so interestingly enough, the backstory behind this is these brakes were completely silent until one morning about a week ago. I really haven't driven the car that much since. I had to put a few miles on it, but now they're all grooved. They didn't look that bad, actually. They didn't look bad at all when we did the rear diff. However, there was a lot of rust on them, so I wasn't 100% sure how they were going to turn out. So I looked up brakes at Advanced Auto Parts, which is where I buy a lot of my brake parts. And they were actually not showing any brakes for an NG95, or I should say any rear rotors for an NG95. So what I did was I grabbed the part number, and these are vented. I went on Google, did some research, found out that these are 315 millimeter for the vented ones. And then I crossed them and found out that these are just Buick LaCrosse or Regal GS rotors. So what I did was I went and I bought Buick LaCrosse rotors. So we're going to find out how these fit. Hopefully they do. I'm going to grab a 13 millimeter wrench for the caliper, a 15 mil for the hold down for the caliper, and we're going to go from there. All right, and just so everyone knows, I am going to take the part number for those rotors I grabbed and put them in the description below, so that way everyone can see it. Right now I'm just taking off the caliper hold down bolts, pulling off the caliper. Alright, I guess those pads aren't going to want to come out of there, so let's just take the whole piece off. We'll take the whole caliper bracket off, then I'll be able to... Alright, now this side didn't have its hold down screw, so this caliper is just going to come right off, rotor is just going to come right off. The other side does have its hold down screw. Let's take a peek at these brake pads. Oh yeah, that is just metal. I am really surprised that these weren't making noise right when I put the diff in. You'd be amazed. These were completely silent. Just goes to show you. And this one feels like it doesn't even move, so I'm gonna have to clean that up a bit. So I'm going to finish taking this apart, get the wire wheel out, clean all this stuff up, and then we'll start on reassembly. Before we start on reassembly though, I'm going to check and make sure that that rotor is the same size as the ones that I bought for the LaCrosse. Alright, now it's time for the moment of truth. Are these the same rotor? Hopefully my research didn't do me wrong here. Yep, this has been opened and returned once before, so it wasn't the right rotor for somebody. Same height. All the lug bolts line up, or bolt holes I should say. Looks like the right rotor to me. Do one quick double check before I clean it, because once you clean it, you own it. Take it. Perfect. Alright, time to clean them up. Now these are actually the ones listed for the NG95, but I want to check these pads as well. These are correct. Pad I pulled off, pad that's going on. There's a pretty big difference there. The pretty big difference is an understatement, actually. So I'm going to take those slides, get them all cleaned up, and we're going to get this reassembled with all the brand new hardware and a little bit of brake lube. Or maybe a lot bit of brake lube. For those of you that have seen my 9.4X video, you'll remember that. I've always put a little bit of disc brake quiet on before I put the pads in. Just helps keep noise down. So just paint them up. It's kind of a rubberized coating. Let them get a bit tacky. I'm just going to do 2 at a time because I need to take the other set apart still. Alright, now because of the fact that the e-brake is actually part of the caliper, what you need is a tool that turns and compresses the caliper at the same time. So what I have is, this is actually a Pittsburgh disc brake caliper service toolkit. I use it on pretty much everything. Take it, well, that's it there. Put this together. Put this on here. I'm hoping that this is the right one. This is, in this kit, number 7. Take it, line it up, and then start twisting. Rotor back on. Make sure the set screw hole lines up, even though I don't have the set screw for this side for this one. Caliper bracket back on. Alright, take the pads, put a little bit of ceramic grease around the outside of them, on these on the tabs that stick out and lock in with the tabs that stick out. Do not get any on the surface that touches the caliper, or sorry, that touches the rotor. And then make sure, I always put the ones with the squeakers, so the metal pieces sticking down, in the back. Sometimes they just require a little tap, because of how they are. You just want to make sure that they are able to move once they're in, though. See, like this is able to move pretty easy. Alright, pads in, caliper back on. Tighten these down, and they're done. On the passenger side, I'm actually just going to probably fast forward through most of it, or you'll get a montage, I should say, unless something weird comes up. The one thing I'm going to say is, with this driver side, just because of how it looked, I'm probably going to monitor it, and if something comes up, I'll end up replacing the caliper. I just want to make sure. There we go. That's good to go. So, on to the passenger side. Okay, so there is one difference on this side. This side actually has the rotor set screw. So what I always do with these is grab my impact driver and whatever size it is, this is a T30, make sure it's set the right way. Take it, put it in. Give it a good hard smack, and there she goes. And I will be putting this set screw back in. There we go, I'll pull it apart. Alright, so interestingly enough, these pads got jammed in there. That's actually the friction material. It actually just fell off of the pads, and these are just not moving. So this car obviously sitting around for a while. That was the problem. Knock them loose. Just gonna clean up this bracket like I did the other one. So I'll hit that with the wire wheel. And actually, I probably shouldn't have done this in here. We'll just take this and flip it over. I'm gonna take these two, coat them up with a disc brake quiet. So that way by the time I get everything ready, that's nice and tacky. And we can keep moving forward. Okay, I just want to make a couple quick notes. On the passenger side, use the impact on the, or use the hammer impact on that set screw. Had a little bit of an issue with the front pad. Ended up having to pry around with a little screwdriver, got it easy. The next thing I'm going to do, put the wheels back on, put the car down. Always remember to pump the brakes after doing any kind of brake service and make sure your brake cap, your brake fluid cap is back on all the way. I know I loosen it up every single time so it doesn't build up pressure and crack the cap. So into the montage for that. Alright everybody, and that was doing brakes on the NG95. Now, after I put the car down, which was where the GoPro cut out, and as you can tell I'm wearing a different shirt, so it's a different day, I went and I made sure the brake reservoir cap was on. Then, before driving off, I pumped the brakes a few times just to make sure everything was good. The Buick LaCrosse rotors were the right rotors. I'm going to go and I'm going to put the part number of the rotors that I used in the description below. I'm also going to put the part number of the pads. The pads actually came up under the NG95 where the rotors didn't. Just so everyone knows, I don't intend on doing tons of brake jobs on the channel. It just so happens that I recorded a brake job on the 94X already, which I'll just put a card up there in case anyone needs that. And had to do rear brakes on this as well. Just so everyone knows, I'm not going to neglect the front brakes. I'm actually going to check those when I do the first oil change I do on the car, which I haven't done yet because the oil was changed shortly before I got it, funny enough, at least according to the sticker, and still had miles left on it. And since it said it was a Mobil 1 oil change, I know it was a good synthetic, so I figured I'd run with it. Probably have about 1,000 miles at this point left on that oil change, so I'll do that real shortly. Other than that, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm going to try and stay away from more brake jobs. If you have any questions, either shoot me a message at one of the social links below or shoot me an email. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in and Saab on, folks.